Hello and welcome to the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry. The Heartland Mamas podcast comes to you regularly from the edge of the Great Red Divide, the little blue island in the middle of the United States, and right to your ears. You can find us on all podcast platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Substack, Blue Sky. Like, subscribe, and share. Today we're going to talk about day 7 in the reign of Orange Caligula and the interpretive dance of modern national populism. Are you ready? Here we go. In the last year, we've watched the Republican Party recruit all these young men to their platform. They've told them that it's all women's fault, and especially minority women. It's women's fault, even though women have raised them, given birth to them, educated them, mentored them, picked them up when they fell down. But for some reason, it's all their fault that they can't have everything that they want and more. It's all their fault. So they painted women as being the reason that they fail. It's not the fact that Republican men ended affordable education. I don't care if it's education in the trades or if it's education to go to college. They've made it so expensive that these young men cannot go. And they've told them it's okay to be stupid and to not go to school and to not graduate, to not have an education, because who needs that? We love the uneducated, right? So they've painted this whole picture for them that right is might, and just come along with us and all your, like Pedro said, all your dreams will come true. Well, let me tell you, the dreams of those good, high-paying union jobs have gone away because Trump has ended all the funding for infrastructure and manufacturing here in the United States. All those roads and bridges that were being built, all the funding's been pulled. One time years ago, I was with my former podcast partner, and we decided to drive through Indiana to go to Cincinnati to see a MAGA rally. Yes, and there's pictures out there. If you look around, you'll find them. You'll see some videos from that event as well. But we were driving through Indiana, and we looked, and all like the cones and the barriers and stuff were like it pushed down against the berms, and like they'd been run over a million times, and there's dust and dirt everywhere on I-65 heading south, and this would have been 2019. So as we're going down that way, we stopped at a couple places and asked, what's going on with the roads here? They're so bad, and why is all your construction equipment just left out to rot? And we were told, well, they ran out of money. They didn't even have the money to pick up the construction equipment, so they just left it out there. And I said, how long ago was that? Well, this project ended 4 years ago. We ran out of money last winter for this other project. And if you've ever driven down 65, besides the, oh my gosh, if you ever drive down 65 and go south on that, there's all these bizarre God installations like God is watching and you will be judged and all that kind of crap. It's like going through Effingham and seeing this giant aluminum cross that I keep thinking is going to fall on Interstate 55 in Illinois at any time. And why we always say, what the Effingham when we go through there, and I'm a Christian. It's like, what the heck? You could have fed a lot of hungry people with that money. Anyway, so now these projects, all the money's been pulled back. So they're going to have to find a way to wrap it up so that maybe they don't lose all their construction stuff, right? But all those jobs are gone. So building wind turbines, especially the ones in the ocean, solar panels, roads and bridges, any type of manufacturing, all of that is gone. And it was gone in the stroke of a pen. So people who were, and a lot of those jobs went in the red states. They went down south. So you're looking at the Carolinas and Mississippi and Alabama, where all of a sudden they don't have a job that's paying them $30, $40 an hour. Now their choice is to go back to work, if they can find work, doing whatever, maybe fixing cars in their mom's driveway. But for some reason, they're going to blame this all on Biden and the Democrats, not even realizing, because they don't understand government. They barely made it through high school, if they made it through it all. They don't understand politics, and they don't understand what's happening to them. That this neoliberal wet dream of Ronald Reagan's almost went away under Biden, right? Biden overcorrected in a way that I don't think we're going to realize for 5 or 6 more years, or maybe 100 years. But the fact that he changed so much, for everybody, they didn't see that. So what they're doing is they're trying to roll back all the progress that we've had in the last 4 years. Now, Biden was a quiet guy. We didn't go to bed and wake up wondering what the fuck happened while I was sleeping last night, because that was the first 4 years of Trump. And in that, we had a pandemic. Now, listen, now he knows what to do. Last time he was surprised he won because he was just so busy bitching about her emails, and then when he won, he was stunned. So now he won again. Now he's put in all the oligarchs. I mean, when he did his inauguration, right? All of his Trump flag waving friends came to Washington only to be locked out of the rotunda. I mean, he shut off all the ante rooms and packed people in there so they looked like they were shoulder to shoulder. And it was all the oligarch class. It wasn't like normal people like you and I. It was, I mean, you had to be making, $400 million a year or more to be in there, right? I mean, you couldn't be there if you were, I don't know, pumping gas or building homes in the Midwest. You weren't, you could go to Washington. You might get into, what did they do, the Superdome or something, whatever they call their sports stadium. But they couldn't get into the actual ceremony. He didn't want that riffraff in there. Those are peasants. It was peasant scum. All those flag wavers. None of the oligarchs stormed the Capitol on January 6th. It was all of these people, and most of them had not voted. Now, they got smart and they voted this last time. And then they found all this disaffected youth, young men mostly, that were disaffected because they can't get ahead. And they don't realize that they can't get ahead because of what Republican men did back to them back in the 80s. Back in the 80s is when this happened. That's when college began to be unaffordable, right? That's when college debt started to pile up. So they have no understanding of the fact that this is not the fault of the Democrats. It is the fault of the Democrats for a lot of things, but not this. These neoliberal issues brought to you by Ronald Reagan were now turned into interpretive dance by all the oligarchs and the head guy, Trump, so that they can dance this dance and promise them anything. Hey, if you just follow us, right as might, you're going to get that house, you're going to get that job, you're going to get that lifted truck that can roll coal. And guess what? You don't have to go to work all that often, only when you want to. And it doesn't matter if you have an education, you're just going to get that job. So that's what they're telling them. But the reality is all of a sudden, about 40,000 jobs at least went away. High-paying jobs since Trump took office. Now, those were new jobs created under the Biden administration, mostly in southern red states, and they're gone. They're just gone. But somehow they're going to twist it because they know and they love the uneducated that don't understand how government works and they don't understand politics. They're going to blame it on migrants and they're going to blame it on women and Democrats. And it's all our fault. It's all our fault. That's what they're going to tell them. And they're going to believe it because they hurt so bad, because they're so disillusioned with everything. And they don't understand that the disillusionment began with Ronald Reagan, who took away part of the great society that Johnson built, part of the social network that FDR built, part of the promise of the future that JFK built. So they will somehow find a way to blame it on anybody and not take any responsibility. And it's our job, ladies and gentlemen, to allow them to fight amongst themselves. Because they're going to call their congressman or they're going to call Washington, because I don't even know that they realize that they have a member of Congress of their very own or a state senator, or they probably just think it's all Trump. But when stuff goes wrong, they're going to think it's Biden, and Biden's not in office anymore, and we don't have majorities anywhere. We don't have control of the Supreme Court. We don't have control of the upper or lower house. Democrats are toothless right now, and it's not looking good for us to make a return based on our leadership. I'm just saying, when you have to put Steny Hoyer in and not AOC, we just had NFL playoff games yesterday, and it's like having Grandpa go out and throw for the Bills or for the Chiefs instead of having Patrick Mahomes throw, right? I mean, that's what they did. They brought in Brett Favre again instead of putting in Patrick Mahomes. And then you get what you get. So Democrats, not Steny Hoyer, AOC is who we needed. You don't need anybody over 40 in leadership right now. You don't. And I'm well over 40, as you can clearly see. But we have to realize it's not that, like, people like me who put in their dues, earned their stripes, did the work, carried the stuff forever. We haven't gotten stuff done. You need younger people. We need to bring them in. So anyway, getting back to this thing about neoliberalism, I think back to the 1,000 points of light days of the 4 years of H.W. Bush, who was kind of harmless in a way. I mean, when you look back at it, except for some tax cuts and some stupid stuff, he didn't do much. He's dead now. But I think about when he left the NRA, because the NRA described federal employees, federal workers, as jackbooted thugs that would dress all in black like ninjas and burst into a room and shoot up the place, killing innocent people. Well, we didn't have federal employees like that back then. We didn't. And we never have. But guess what? We're getting them now. And there's nothing a MAGA likes better than somebody kicking in the door, opening up with a semi-automatic or automatic weapon, killing everybody in the place with the blood dripping off the walls, and the floors wet and sticky with blood, slippery with it. They think that the purge is what is needed. Yeah, you got to purge all those old bastard oligarchs out of Washington, including the head one, Trump. Then you can have something. And I'm going to say Mitch McConnell's got to be the first to go. Good God. Every problem we have right now in modern times is Mitch McConnell's fault. Everything is Mitch McConnell's fault. And he's going to drop dead here pretty soon because he's old and there's something going on with him, with his health. And there's something going on with Trump. I mean, like, we always make fun of how stupid he sounds, but I think it's just because his level of education doesn't match the degrees that he has. I don't know how that works, but something's going on there. Anyway, but he looks bad. He looks really bad. Like, everybody was after Biden for looking bad. Biden looked his age. Trump looks like when you go to the nursing home on the day the Mary Kay lady came by to do makeup for everybody and put on way too much foundation and it's all stuck in the wrinkles and their saggy little faces, but they think they look wonderful. You know, God bless them, but not him. Anyway, he looks like that. He looks horrible. And, you know, he's always pitching forward when people say it's dementia. No, it's the lifts in his shoes. And he's off balance. He needs to walk, you know, get back on his heels. I don't think he can. I don't think he's got the quadriceps to do that, or it's certainly not the core strength. So, but boy, did I digress here. But getting back to this thing with George W. Bush, and I think we are here where we have jackbooted thugs. And let me tell you what they're doing now. They're going into public grade schools, and they're trying to take little children out of the grade schools. They're trying to take them when they're walking to and from school. They're trying to take them from the bus stops. We are still missing 3,000 little children that disappeared during the first Trump administration. 3,000 little brown children, mostly girls, that are gone. We'll never find them. We'll never find them. My heart breaks for their parents and for those kids, because based on the amount of sexual offenders and predators that are either elected or appointed in the Republican Party, the reason they're going after children right now is really disturbing. I know part of you thinks that it's because they want to hurt the parents and cause the parents to leave, but that's not the case completely. It's disturbing and disgusting. So we're still missing 3,000 kids. They're going around the country trying to empty out schools of little brown children, and kids can't tell you what their immigration status is. And the best thing they can do is just not say anything. And here in Illinois, they're relatively safer Relatively, it's going to depend on the school district. I mean, out here, there's some pretty rednecky ones that might just let them in. To take all the brown ones, we don't care. But I'm telling you, there's teachers out there that are not going to let it happen. And going to Chicago, big mistake. Big mistake. You can't, they're not going to play nice with you. But in Indiana and Iowa, Ohio, I'm so sorry, kids. I am so sorry. We can't protect you from people coming in to shoot up your school, and now we can't protect you from the big, scary, black-booted thugs that are coming in to rip you away from everything you've ever known. That kills me. I mean, it breaks my heart. So with the Republican Party believing that spilt blood is the purge is what is needed here, to feed the ambitions of the new Hannibal Lector and his Fava Beans, there will be enough carnage, and grocery prices are skyrocketing. Perhaps that's what they're going to push as a new food source. We all read Soylent Green, and if you didn't, you should have. They even made it into a movie. It's not a really good movie, but Soylent Green is how they got rid of people that they didn't want. I mean, they've ended cancer research. They're planning on us all dying off, so they don't have to support us when we're not useful workers. It's all part of a bigger picture, people. But they're just a few steps right now, the Republicans, from going from Hannibal Lecter to becoming Ed Gein. That much is certain. So from the edge of the Great Red Divide, this has been the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry. Pray for the kids, those that are real Christians. Pray for the kids, those that pray. Hold them in a good light, everyone else, and hope that they can get through it without being like Anne Frank. God, I can't believe that this is America. Take care now. Bye-bye.